Alright, and we're back. So, let's show you the get to the chopper stuff. So I'm going to delete this crap here. Rebuild lighting to fix that. Alright, so the first thing we're going to need is to establish our spawn point, which we're going to put over here. And then we're going to need to define a capture zone. So let's just create a simple capture zone real quick. I should put that up to like a 32. 0.5. Want to go 0.25. 2. 0.5 and 0.5. 0.25. 0.25. Alright. So we're going to call this area our capture zone. Save it. Also make sure that you go into your game mode settings and change it from PC Team Deathmatch to PC Get to the Chopper Game on both of these. And also don't forget to, let's see, go to My Map Info and set it to PC Get to the Chopper Game, Map Info. We want to set a round limit, let's just say 900 seconds. And for map info, let's make sure we put in music. Let's see, map, ambience map. Defaults. So I'm going to type in GM underscore objective markers. And here's our capture zone mesh. Scale that down to better fit our area. Doesn't look so great on the white. So actually, just real quick, I'm going to change the texture. Oops. Alright, so now we have our capture zone. And I'm going to create two capture zones just to show the multi-step process here. there. If you can't select this, enable allow translucent selection, because some translucent materials don't like to be touched like that. There we go. So now we have our 2 capture points. We're going to call that one the final one. So the first thing we got to do is we have to define our capture area, and that's done through a trigger volume, I believe. So we're going to want to bring back our builder brush. Actually, because it's been a while, let me get to the chopper docs and see how that one's set up. And for the record, if you're ever trying to set up a Get to the Chopper map and you want to look at an example, I highly recommend Get to the Chopper docs. That's the one where I've cleaned up the Kismet, I think. Yep. So it's all nice and clean. So here we are using, yep, a trigger volume. And a Get to the Chopper objective hold. And I'll also cover side objectives as well. So let me create a quick side objective. We're going to make that one even smaller just to signify it's a side objective. So with our builder brush, we're going to create our... Actually, because it's a circle, why don't we use a cylinder? So we're going to change that cylinder to a 16-sided cylinder. We're going to make the outer radius 256 maybe? Actually even smaller, 192? That looks about right. Yeah, looks about right. And we'll make the height like 128. So instead of clicking add here, we're going to right click here on add volume and go to trigger volume. And if we hit B, we can see that there's our trigger volume. Then we're also going to bring it over here. Add trigger volume. And we're going to add one over here. Let's see, so this radius should probably be, I don't know, 128, no. 96? Yeah, there we go. There we are. Right click, trigger volume. So now we got our triggers. So now we're going to create our hold actors. So go to actor classes and type in objective. Get to the chopper hold. And where you place this doesn't really matter, but I usually like to keep them in the general area of your trigger areas, just so you can keep track of them really nicely. So you have some settings to change here. So hold region, click on the lock button so you can select something else. Click on your trigger and the green arrow. And there's some other stuff you can change here. Identifier, what does that do? Oh, right. How do we have these set? It's been a long time since I made a Get to the Chopper map from scratch. Okay, A. So, yeah, that'll be the identifier for like A, B, C, D, etc. So that means this is probably a 1? Yeah, it's a 1. Okay. So that's easy. Then what do we have for the final one? D. Oh, but we've checked it as final. That's how we do it. Okay. So we're going to put A. And we're going to have this one as the start. So then for success objectives, we're going to put 2 down. We're going to put our second objective down. Oh, I got to hit the little lock key on it. Actually, we'll do this one first. So success objective and the other success objective. What success objective means is whenever we've captured this point, these are the objectives that are going to open up. Our side objective and our next objective, which is going to be our final. And when we click on it, you'll notice it'll actually draw this green line to your next objective, which is pretty useful. So there's some other things you can set here. You can set whether or not there's a multiply hold, meaning the time will increase based on the amount of players that are in there. You can set how long it takes to capture. Wait, contested counts as hold. If false volume cannot contain enemies to add time. So that means if there's another enemy, it won't go up, so we want that. We won't check multiply hold. Cooldown, you can have a cooldown or whether or not it'll just freeze and stay in place, and the rate in seconds that it'll cool down. This is what I don't understand. We have 2 here. Let me check it to the chopper one more time. Okay, so we don't use time limit. So, oh, I know what time limit is, okay. So, I'm not sure if it still works, but at one point we were going to have the ability to fail an objective, where if you start capturing and you don't completely capture it in some amount of time, then you just fail. You don't get to capture the objective at all, and you have to move on. Like we were going to have like branching paths, so like maybe if you try to capture this one and you fail, something else opens up and you have to go to a different way, which is pretty cool. It'd be cool to see someone to make a map like that. But we're not going to worry about time limits, so we're going to set our hold time target to, just so I don't want to wait, 15 seconds. And then you can have an on success sound and on fail sound. Let's see, we'll just find something for that. SMD, we have that under electrical, maybe. No. Shriek. How did I do this? Physics? Generator? Alright, here's what we'll do. Okay, so on success, we'll have that one right there. We're not going to have a failed objective, so we're not going to worry about that. Human objective text. Capture the point. Don't let them capture the point. And then for this, I'll just put the same stuff. This one's going to be our final one, so we're going to tick final. Our hold region is once again this. We're going to have contested counts as hold. We're going to have cooldown. Our hold time target's also going to be 15 seconds. Very good. Now this one's a little bit different. This one we're going to have it as a secondary. The hold region is going to be this. We're going to have contested counts as hold, cooldown, and 15 seconds for the time. Identifier, we're going to use a 1 instead of a letter, and I forgot to set the identifier here, so we're going to set that as a B. And when you finish that, the icon for this one will change. So all that's set up. So let's see what happens. Save, build paths, build lighting. Alright, so let's try hopping in. Alright, my 900 seconds went up as 15 minutes for the objective. I walk in. For some reason my sound's not working. Oh yeah, because I turned sound off, but we notice it's capturing in the 15 seconds like I mentioned. Objective captured. Now we have our secondary objective. I'm going to go ahead and capture that. Captured. Move on to the next one. And captured. And the round's over. So, you might notice that we don't see a scoreboard, nothing's happening, everything's acting a little weird. The reason for that is because normally we play a matinee sequence at the end. Now you don't have to do this, but I will show you how it's done. So I'm going to go in here, and instead of actually implementing it into the map, I'll show you exactly how it's done. So in the Kismet, we have these different boxes here. I've went and commented it all for you guys. So this is first objective Kismet, second objective Kismet, secondary objective alternate gate, where you can open this gate right here. Third objective garage, secondary objective ship bridge, which is this objective right here. And the final objective, we don't have any Kismet logic for it, but we do have logic for the end round sequences right here. And then this is map startup stuff right here. So I'm going to go over all that. So the objective area is this trigger volume right here. Let me uncheck translucent selection. So whenever you walk inside this trigger, the objective starts capturing. And you may have noticed whenever you walk in or out of the objective, this screen here will change. And so how we do that is we have this event here called PC get to the chopper objective hold status changed. And you bring that in by going new event, Primal Carnage events, PC get to the chopper hold objective status changed. And it'll look like this. Now the reason why this looks different to this is because there's a little thing I use to make it look nicer, and you can right click and go hide unused connections, just because it looks a little cleaner, but you don't have to do that. So whenever the objective is empty, we set this material right here, which is screen start, that one. And whenever it's holding, we load the in progress, which looks like this, kind of a loading symbol right there. And that's how we change the two. So then we have this one right here, this event, which is objective completed. So when they've taken the event, we play all this logic right here. So I'm going to go over what that is. First is we set the terminal mat on both. The first one is setting the module to green, and the second is setting the screen to end, which looks like oops. Green and end. So it says execution of startup script successful, and the light goes green. We also change the actual light itself, which is done through here, this matinee, which I'll bring up. So we have the light referenced, and we use this this matinee type here called light color, and that allows us to set the light from red to green. So on the first thing where it says set color, we have it set to red, and on the second one where we go set color, we have set it to green. And on an 0.35 timeline, it goes from red to green whenever we've captured the objective. Pretty simple. I don't want to cover the actual step-by-step process of setting that up, but I think you can probably figure it out. We also set the objective arrows from red to yellow. And so we just have the interbacter on the target, and you can get this action by going new action. I believe it's toggle, no, it's misc. On actor, set material. So new action, actor, set material. And then down here you type in the material you want using the content browser. So we're going to want objective markers MI. Here's the arrow. Plug it in. And on objective completed, we plug it into there, and the target is the mesh, so we're going to enable translucent selection, click on the mesh, new object var, plug it in, and then it'll capture. Easy. So the other thing we do is over here we have our starting arrows. But because the spawn point for the humans changes from here to here, we hide these just to be nice. So we hide the arrows by plugging the mesh in, like we did up here, into a toggle hidden, which is new action, toggle, toggle hidden. We select the mesh, plug it in, and we plug hide into here. And then what I do is I like to hide unused connectors just to make it look nicer. And I commented it so you guys know what it is. Along with that, we also unhide the objective 2 arrows, which are right here. And that's done in the exact same way as before. We have toggle hidden, we bring in the, let me select it. We bring in the reference, plug it in. We use unhide instead of hide. Hide unused connectors. The other thing we do is we play a matinee for opening the gate. I believe that's this gate right here. Yep. So whenever that objective completes, we open up this gate to let people who spawn in here to come out both sides so they don't get as easily raped by the dinosaurs. Pretty simple. Setting up the matinee is pretty easy, and I think I covered basic matinee in another one when we moved the dinosaurs around. Pretty simple. You have a movement track. At point 1, it's here. At point 2, it's down there on a 10-second track, so it very slowly opens. And we also have a sound category here for playing a sound when the door goes down, an open sound, and a gate shut sound at the end. We also, for fun, do a chopper flyby sequence. Whenever someone captures this objective, you can see the helicopter flying overhead, just to be kind of cool and cinematic looking. We also add bonus time, which is done through Kismet. You can do that by going New Action, Primal Carnage Actions, Add Reward Round Time. And you can set the amount of time added in here, which is different based on whether or not there's 1, 3, 5, or more minutes remaining. And I think, yeah, we just use the defaults. We also have team blocking volumes for the capture zones, whether or not it changes to a spawn point. And that is called, I believe it's this one, oh, it's this one. PC team blocking volume. Inside PC team blocking volume, you can set whether or not it's enabled, which we don't want it enabled by default. Whether or not it blocks humans or dinosaurs, we want it to block dinosaurs. And to set that up is pretty easy. You use your builder brush and create it around the area you want to be the human spawn point. You guys already know how to do that. You create an action, Primal Carnage Actions. We want a team blocking volume enable or disable. In this case, we want to enable. We disable and enable one here. We disable the team blocking volume that's around this base, and we enable the one that's around this base. And so I'm going to show you how to enable one. We click on it, new object var, plug it in, and we plug that into completed. And that'll enable the volume. We also do spawn groups. So spawn groups are pretty simple. They look like the little yellow chick here. And inside this chick, we have a list of every spawn point that's a part of this group. In this case, all the human spawn points that are around this base. You add them all to the group. And again, the easiest way to do that is to keep the lock symbol on, hit a plus, select one of the spawn points, and click the little green arrow. The dinosaurs have the same thing. I believe their spawn group is over here with the little duck. Where's the duck? Their spawn groups might not actually change for this objective. Wait, no, they have to. So where's the duck? Where's the duck? Ah, here's the duck. Okay, it was up on the roof here. Alright. So, we have an action for disabling all spawn groups, which is found in New Actions, Primal Carnage. Player start group, disable all. And then we re-enable these two, which is done New Action, Primal Carnage Actions. Start group activate. And just like before, we click on the chick and we plug it into the start group. And you can only plug in one at a time, by the way, so if for some reason you have multiple spawn groups, you need to have more than one action for it. So, pretty simple. That covers the entire first objective. The second objective is more or less the same to the first one. You come over here, we have our control console with the dynamic light. We have our spawn groups. We have our arrows. And we have our team blocking volume surrounding the thing. The logic works pretty much in the exact same way. Now for the side objective, it's a little more complicated. The trigger volume and the hold actor being right here, and the logic for the light and the console, these are all the same. However, the one thing that is different is the way the alternate gate opens. The gate opens while you're standing in the objective and slowly goes back up when you leave the objective. And so we have an action here called Get Player Count, which is found in New Action, Primal Carnage Actions, Get Player Count. And so we have a place for putting the hold objective, so you click on it, right click, Object Var, plug that in. And then we have player count. So how this works is first you need to get a variable. I believe it's a bool, no, not a bool, a float. That's what we need. Floats. We set that to a 1 by default. But it doesn't really matter. So how this works is this variable will be changed based... Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. The player count, which you plug in there, will be controlled by get player count. So get player count, this action, will change how many players are here. If it's 0, this will give it 0. If it's 1, this will give it 1. If it's 3, this will give it 3, etc. Hopefully that's not too confusing. And that defines the play rate of the matinee sequence. So if there's more players inside of the capture zone, the play rate of the matinee, which opens this door, will go faster. So if we open the matinee, you can see the door opens. And the more players there are, the faster it will open. Now the way you get play rate is whenever you have a new matinee, you can right click and go expose variable, expose play rate. And now we have a play rate which we can plug into here. Hopefully that all makes sense. And in addition, under your status changed, remember we had our status changed up here before, but it didn't have all the variables, show all connectors. We have this thing here called player count changed, and player count changed goes into the in. Now this isn't required for any side objective, but if you have any kind of objective, whether it's a side objective or main objective, where you want more players being inside the capture point to make your matinee go faster, this is the method to do it. And you can copy this logic straight out of this map. You can literally just select all this logic here and copy and paste it into another map. Very easy. And then down here, same as before, whenever we've completed the objective, we change the panel light color as well as the terminal's materials. Our third objective, same thing. Logic works in the same way. We have our arrows, we have our spawn points, we have our light, and we have our control panel. Works the same way as the previous two objectives. At the end of completing this objective, we play a matinee sequence that lowers this bridge, which is here. No, wait, here. Simply play it, and it just rotates this mesh down. Nice and simple. Our second secondary objective works pretty much the same as the other one did, except instead of a door, we just have a bridge falling, which goes faster based on the amount of players that are in it. And there's the matinee. And at the end, it falls down. Now, this objective is labeled as the final objective. We identify it as D, and we have all this other stuff set. It looks like by default our cooldown rate on this one is set to 0.5. Now, the only thing that's different about this one is we have our end round stuff. And it's an event called round complete. So event promo card events round complete. So you can do two different things based on whether or not the dinos or the humans win. When the dinos win, we play this logic. Now on both ones, we stop the land sequence, which is a matinee we played in the previous objective when you completed it. And all this is just the chopper flying in and landing. The way you actually do this matinee is something I'll do another time. Right now we're just covering the logic. But when we either win with the dinos or the humans, we stop this matinee because we have we don't want the two matinee sequences overriding each other. They both use the same helicopter, and we don't want anything weird happening. So in the dinos, when we unhide the characters involved, so the two characters, or three actually, we have this guy, and this guy. Normally you can't see these guys, they're hidden. But when we play the matinee, we want to unhide them so we can see them. So we unhide the characters using a toggle hidden, and then we have a matinee sequence where when we play it, we got the this and the pounce, and then we fade to black, I think, yeah. And down here we have the human win sequence where we unhide the human stuff. Actually, no, we don't unhide anything because it's just the helicopter. So it's just the helicopter taking off with dramatic music playing. Now on both of these, we have an event that plays, or we fire an action called End the Round. We also toggle cinematic mode. What cinematic mode does is it gets rid of the HUD and prevents players from moving or looking around at their camera. So if you go new action, toggle cinematic mode, and for variable you go to variable player, plug that in, enable. When this fires off, it'll fire on cinematic mode, and everyone's HUD will be taken away, giving it a more cinematic look. We also hide on both of them the red arrows that spin around just so the cinematic scene looks a little nicer. But in both matinees we have this thing called End Round, and we do that through a matinee event track, which is somewhere in here. Where is it? Helicopter? Ah, event. So in your matinee category you can go right click, new event track. So wherever you want the matinee event to be, in this case we had it right about here, where it fades to black. Actually no, it looks like we fired it earlier. So whenever end round is fired, that's when the scoreboard comes up, so it looks like we played it about right here, and this is when we had the scoreboard come up. But in your event track, wherever you want it to be, wherever you want the scoreboard to come up, you can hit the enter key and the round. And when you leave your matinee and you look at your Kismet, you can see it, instead of just using completed, it's added a new event here at the end to fire off at that point. So then we end the round. And whenever this is fired, the scoreboard will pop up, and after a few seconds the round will end and then restart. So if you don't want to take the time to make matinee sequences for your end round events, what you can do is simply just get rid of all of this and simply end the round on both. Easy. Now the only other part we have is we have logic here for what happens at the start of a round. And so we have round begin and level reset. When level reset, you have to have both, because I believe when you play a round and then the level resets after a team switch, this one doesn't get fired, so you need to have both. And just to make it a little easier on the eyes, I have just a delay set here kind of as a gate. So instead of having these two fire into all of these, we have these two fire into one, which fires into all of these. That's optional, but it just looks a little nicer. So the first thing we have is hide actors. There's a lot of actors we unhid throughout the map. Like, for example, we may have unhidden these guys if the dinos won. So we hide them. Another thing that makes this look a little cleaner is we have what's called an object list. If you go to variable object list, see down here how we have multiple things plugged into the target, and it's a little harder to read. You can have an object list and you add multiple objects to the list, and you just fire one of them through the target. And there's some actors that we actually hid before that we now want to be unhidden. For example, the yellow arrows. We hid them when we capture the first objective. So when the round resets, we want to unhide them. So we have that set here along with looks like this, just in case these got hidden. So we unhide that too. We also reset all the arrow materials that we changed before. We set them back to the red one because they were all switched to the yellow arrows from before. We set all the terminal materials back to their default red blank status. We disable all the team blocking volumes. We disable the helicopter dust, just in case it's still around. We disable cinematic mode in case that's still enabled from the previous round. We also fire off the pilot dialogue, and how that works is we have an interp actor that sits right here, the radio. This is an interp actor. Well, that's a lens flare source, but this is an interp actor. We have it referenced inside the Kismet, right there. And we go to New Action, Sound, Play Sound, and we have the target of that sound where it plays from right here. Inside we've chosen Pilot Radio Idle for our dialogue, which is, it has sounds kind of like this.
Hello, is anyone out there?
And it randomly plays one of these.
Phoenix Corps Pilot Zulu 19 are calling any survivors.
We plug that cue into here. And what we do is whenever the round starts, we add a delay, which delays can be done through actor, maybe, misc, delay, here it is. So basically whenever the round starts, we have a 30-second delay. Let me move this over here so we can see it better. We have a 30-second delay. When that delay is finished, we play it. When the sound is done playing, we start the delay again. The result being that we play a sound once every 30 seconds, and we plug the start of that delay into there. Easy peasy. We set the tyrant availability. I think that's one thing I didn't mention before. Set tyrant availability. So after you've completed the third objective, we enable the tyrants. So at the start of the round, we disable the tyrants by unchecking this box and firing it. At the end of the third objective, when this is completed, we fire should enable tyrants. We enable the start team blocking volume, disable all the other blocking volumes, and we disable all spawn groups and re-enable the first two spawn groups, which is here and here. So I mean, in a nutshell, that's all you really need to do to set up a very basic Get to the Chopper map. Some other maps do things differently, like for example, the Falls does the multi-point checkpoint thing with the generators counting up, which is a bit more complicated and something I don't really want to explain right now. But this is all you really need to know for now in order to get started on your Get to the Chopper map. Again, if you need references or examples, you should take a look at the Kismet and some of the other maps. The only two maps where I've cleaned up the Kismet are Get to the Chopper the Falls and Get to the Chopper Docks. It's a lot messier and it's not commented like I've commented it here in these other maps, but you can look at them if you want to. And these should, you know, be pretty self-explanatory with the commenting and what you now know from here. Unlike, as an example, Get to the Chopper Ruthless, where the Kismet is, in my opinion, quite a bit messier and quite a bit harder to read. I'm going to be cleaning these up soon, so don't worry about it. But for the most part, the logic for the different maps are more or less the same. The only real difference with this map is instead of having a material change, the actual mesh for this goes from this to the other one. Or actually it's a decal. But yeah, like I said, not all that different. Don't really worry about it. And if you have any other questions, ask me in the Discord chat and I can help you out with anything you need. I'm going to hop off the stream for now. I'm probably going to be doing another stream soon on lighting proper and whatever else people bring up that needs a stream like this. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.